r/AskReddit, how do we get rid of the tipping culture in America? Unpopular opinion, stop tipping in general. Employers need to pay their employees a livable wage. Pay a decent basic salary. But you'll find those who get tipped better than others don't want it to change. Most servers would make way less with a set salary. The truth is they don't want tips to go away. Escaping the tipping culture in America is like trying to unmix a cocktail. One way could be pushing for fair wages for service industry workers, so tipping becomes more of a gesture of appreciation rather than a necessity. It's a cultural shift that needs both patrons and businesses to shake things up. Even in states with generous minimum wages, like Washington, tipping is still expected and normal. You don't. The overwhelming majority of servers make way more money with tips than the restaurants would ever pay them in wages. I started in a cheap corporate restaurant 10 years ago and I was making $20 to $25 an hour after taxes. Well, in California where we are, they'll be making $20 an hour starting April and they already make $15 an hour. When they spin the iPad around, just stop tipping, I guess. You have all the power. Yeah, if everyone stopped tipping they'd figure it out pretty quick, I think. But it would be painful for those in the industry until they figure it out, and some places would probably close in the process. Or stop going to restaurants. That's what I've done since COVID. I cook now. Saved $1,000 since 2020. Nothing short of federal legislation will make a difference. Servers don't want it to go away, especially at higher end places. You can make a lot of money on tips. Simple. Don't play. And I don't mean not eating out. Do not tip for services that do not demand a tip. Do not tip at a kiosk that is asking for a tip before service is rendered. Just hit zero. Isn't it bananas? I remember going up to the storefront to get a slice of pizza. The girl literally handed me the pizza from 2 feet away and the screen prompted me to give a tip. Like what? Don't you get paid to hand me a pizza? I hate the tipping culture. I get tipping at sit-down restaurants. But I order a bottled water at Starbucks, and I tip for that. I pick up takeout and am asked to tip. I still do to help the workers, but I'd rather just pay a flat price. Just stop tipping in those situations. As of recent I've adjusted my tipping habits in 2 scenarios, if I had to do the work, or I'm required to tip prior to service being rendered and I can't easily adjust it for bad service, Starbucks. It's made my life about 0% worse. Stop going to places that require tips. This is the only way employers will change. No place requires tips though. Don't tip unless you have a dedicated server and only after service has been provided. Tipping ahead of service is literally just paying more for the same product and goes against the reason for tipping in the first place. Tipping is meant to show appreciation for exceptional service, which can only be judged once service is complete. That's why I pretty much quit using DoorDash because it asks for a tip in advance. Don't frequent places that require tips. You don't, short of government intervention it will never happen. Servers depend on it and restaurants will never pay and people won't pay the cost. They tried it in Maine once. Servers went on strike because they were actually making less off minimum wage than they were off the tip system. Pay the cost of what? We're already paying their salaries. By refusing to patronize restaurants that pay their servers a tipped wage. Pay staff enough of a wage that tips are literally just tips and not a means to pay rent. Unfortunately, it didn't work that way in Washington. $16.28/HR and everyone still expects, and likely gets, a 20% tip. Can anyone in California, $16/HR, or DC, $17/HR, confirm that's the case there too? Allow restaurants to charge around 30% more for food. The only way most of them can stay afloat right now is cutting costs on payroll by shorting wait staff. You don't do that, almost every sit-down restaurant shuts down. Profit margins are too slim in that industry. Thanks to tips, I average $35 to $40 an hour delivering pizza for Domino's. $35 an hour is pretty good for unskilled labor. Just don't tip. Stop tipping. That's the easiest and most effective, I think. If noon tips, there's no tipping culture anymore. I have the answer. Someone posted on another thread a receipt from a restaurant that gets rid of tips and shows that they actually pay staff well and provide benefits, so no one feels bad not tipping. The more restaurants that do this, the more accepted and desired it will become. Give cows comfy beds so they don't sleep standing up. People hate tipping anyway, give them an option not to and they'll take it. Shift the responsibility back to the restaurant owners. Make it like Europe. where there is barely any tipping in place. Service is 15%, included. Not lower, not higher. Taxes included too. No surprise when you receive the bill. It is too expensive? You don't go there or come back. And no expectations that you will tip on top, except like 1 to 2 euros for a sit-in coffee place/restaurant, or more for a very fancy restaurant. This 15% is the price of the job being done, and the waiter can even be offended if you give a big tip. No one force you to tip really. I remember once I went to an Italian place in Napa for my 21st birthday, and only tipped 15% instead of 18% because I was just in college. The waiter chased after us while we were walking out the door and asked if there was a problem or if she did something wrong. Everyone was staring at us and it was so uncomfortable. Nobody puts a gun to our head, but there is intense social pressure. We can all just not tip. Is that an idea? I think that is the last collective meme/reference that has occurred and survived on Reddit. There used to be lots of them that came and went with some regularity through the years. But as Reddit lost its soul and sense of community, that was one of the many things that has gotten lost. Google search is often better at finding Reddit comments than Reddit search. And AMP, NBSP. I see what you did there. Back when I was a boy 10% would tip a cow, but cows these days it takes 21, 28, 35%. If you're posting in AITA, 98% chance you are indeed the But then they give a big long one-sided rant justifying their actions enough for people to validate them and say NTA. I automatically assume some level of social dysfunction if you're bringing your need for validation to Reddit. Don't stare at the lamp too long. Don't ask about coconuts or broken arms. Or the poop knife. Also, if someone does mention broken arms, you can farm cheap, easy karma by commenting every single thread in response. When you bring up rapist Brock Turner, it's important to make sure you write rapist Brock Turner, or, if using the new updated name, rapist Alan Turner. You mean convicted rapist, Brock Alan Turner, the rapist who raped a girl? Everyone is a man until they've proven otherwise. You'd have to get the servers on board, and honestly, good luck with that. Most any place more upscale than a Waffle House, servers make pretty good money. They like the model the way it is. Edit, some of you are real pieces of work, you know that? That's a rule for the entire internet. On the internet nobody knows you're a dog. Also, everyone is from the USA until they say otherwise, or on region-specific subs, unless they're Germans looking for actually good jokes on r/ik_ihe, those are spies. Be aware of what sub your feed suggests to you. I clicked on what I thought was a rate my looks subreddit. I commented you look fine. I got banned from the subreddit because it was for plastic surgery and people discussing what procedure they should do next. Apparently you look fine is not an acceptable thing to say on that subreddit. Reddit banning people for stupid reasons is ridiculous. They ban for the most simple reasons, then miss the big ones. If you post anything in a chef's forum, no matter what, 97% of the replies will be how stupid, useless, bad, and so on you are. Like, hey, I made this cool thing, shows a picture of a really nice meal. Most of the replies, OMG. Your kitchen looks like a nightmare, get some new plates you idiot, God that's not how you cut carrots. Always be on the lookout for the 1998 Undertaker Hell in a Cell guy. You never know. The hope of running into him and/or a well-placed 8-story tall crustacean from the Proterozoic era requesting $3.50 is what gets me out of bed in the morning. A fresh Sprog poem is a rare treat too. Not seen that guy for a while. Calling you/shitty morph. Hello everyone. Thanks for sticking to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to humbly ask you to subscribe to the channel. According to my statistics, 100% of my viewers in the past 28 days are not subscribed. I have always wanted this channel to reach 1,000 subscribers, and if you want to support and be a part of that, subscribe. It's free and it's an awesome way to support the channel. Thanks again, Reddit glitch out.